Are you considering moving in with your children as you age? Did you know this seemingly innocent decision could cost you your financial independence, your mental health, and even destroy your most cherished family relationships forever? I made this devastating mistake at 71 years old, and the consequences haunt me every single day. In this video, I'll reveal the shocking truth about why moving in with your adult children after 70 is one of the most dangerous decisions you can make, and how you can protect yourself from the nightmare I'm living right now. Let me tell you about Frank. At 73, Frank was a proud, independent widower who owned his own home in Vermont. When his daughter Jennifer suggested he sell his house and move in with her family in Michigan, it seemed like the perfect solution. "Dad, we'll save money. You'll be closer to the grandkids, and we can take care of you as you age," she promised. Trusting his daughter completely, Frank sold his home of 37 years, put most of his furniture in storage, and moved 800 miles to live with Jennifer and her family. Within 6 months, Frank's $220,000 from his home sale had mysteriously dwindled to almost nothing. His relationship with Jennifer became strained and hostile. His grandchildren began avoiding him. Frank developed depression and high blood pressure. And the worst part? He had nowhere else to go. "I lost everything," Frank told me, "and I can never get it back." Could this happen to you? It absolutely could, and it's happening to thousands of seniors right now across America, but you don't have to become another victim. Let me show you the 5 fatal dangers of moving in with your adult children after 70, and what you should do instead. Number 1. Financial disaster. The hidden cost of moving. Have you ever considered that moving in with your children could leave you completely broke within months? This financial disaster happens far more often than you realize. Top financial advisors specializing in elder planning warn that combining households with adult children creates the perfect storm for financial exploitation and misunderstanding. According to the National Center on Elder Abuse, over 90% of financial abuse cases against seniors involve family members, most commonly adult children. Let me tell you about Elaine. At 72, Elaine sold her condo in Arizona for $195,000 and moved in with her son Drew and his family in Oregon. Drew convinced Elaine to put her house proceeds into a joint account to help with household expenses. Within 8 months, Drew had borrowed nearly $160,000 for his struggling business, home renovations, and a new SUV. When Elaine questioned where her money went, Drew became defensive and reminded her that she was lucky to have a roof over her head. By the time Elaine realized what was happening, her life savings were gone, and she had no legal recourse because she had willingly put her money in a joint account. Do you think this could never happen to you? Think again. Even with the most loving families, financial boundaries become blurred when living together. Are you paying rent or contributing to the mortgage? Who pays for groceries, utilities, or home repairs? What happens when your grandchild needs college tuition? The pressure to contribute financially will be relentless. Here's what you must do instead. Maintain completely separate finances, even if you live nearby. Never ever combine bank accounts with adult children, regardless of how much you trust them. Instead, consider living independently in a smaller home or apartment close to family. If you need care assistance, hire professional help rather than relying exclusively on family. Have you spoken with a certified elder law attorney? Do this immediately to create legal protections for your assets before making any major living decisions. Are you willing to risk your entire life savings on the assumption that money won't change your relationship with your children? Most seniors who lost everything made that exact mistake. Have you protected yourself legally? Don't wait until it's too late. Number 2. Loss of independence. The silent killer. What happens when you suddenly have to ask permission to do things you've been doing on your own for decades? The psychological impact is devastating. Gerontologists and aging experts have documented that sudden loss of independence in seniors leads to dramatic health declines. Dr. Elizabeth Morrison, Director of Geriatric Psychology at Northwestern University, states, "When seniors lose their decision-making autonomy, we see rapid increases in depression, cognitive decline, and even mortality rates. The effect is comparable to severe physical illness. Consider what happened to Victor. At 75, Victor had been living alone since his wife passed away 3 years earlier. His daughter Samantha worried about him and convinced him to move into her basement apartment. Within weeks, Victor realized this wasn't really his home. He needed to check before having visitors. His grandchildren barged in without knocking. He couldn't cook when he wanted because it disturbed the family's schedule. He needed to ask for rides to see friends. Samantha monitored his medication, his food choices, and even his TV watching habits for his own good. Within 4 months, Victor's spark was gone. This formerly active, engaged man became withdrawn and stopped calling his friends. His doctor diagnosed him with severe depression and noted alarming cognitive decline. Do you think your children won't control your life? It happens gradually, often with the best intentions. First, they suggest when you should take your medicine. Then they monitor your diet. Soon they're deciding who you can see and when you can leave the house. Before you know it, you're essentially a child again in your own family. Here's what you must do instead. Guard your independence fiercely. If you need to be closer to family, consider independent living communities or renting your own place nearby. Even a small apartment is better than a room in someone else's home. If finances are tight, explore senior housing subsidies or shared housing with other seniors rather than moving in with children. Have you researched the senior living options in your area? Do it today. Some have waiting lists, so even if you're not ready now, get on those lists immediately. Ask yourself, is sacrificing your independence worth the hidden cost to your dignity and mental health? Once you surrender your autonomy, it's nearly impossible to get it back. Number 3, family relationship destruction. Did you know that moving in with your adult children is one of the fastest ways to destroy your relationship with them forever? This might be the most painful consequence of all. Family therapists who specialize in multi-generational households report that over 70% of these living arrangements end in significant relationship damage. Dr. Samuel Livingston, family therapy researcher at Boston University, notes, the parent-child relationship fundamentally changes when elderly parents move in. Even with detailed agreements in place beforehand, resentment inevitably builds on both sides. Look at what happened to Dorothy. At 74, Dorothy moved in with her daughter Melissa's family after a minor fall. Dorothy had always been close to Melissa, speaking daily and enjoying weekend visits. Within 3 months of moving in, tension filled every interaction. Dorothy felt Melissa was treating her like a child. Melissa felt Dorothy was ungrateful and demanding. The grandchildren grew tired of being told to be quiet because Grandma is resting. Melissa's husband began staying late at work to avoid the tension at home. Family dinners became silent, uncomfortable affairs. After 9 months, their relationship had deteriorated so badly that Dorothy moved to a senior apartment. But the damage was irreparable. 5 years later, they barely speak, and Dorothy hasn't seen her grandchildren in over 2 years. Think this won't happen to your family? Everyone believes their family is different, until it's not. Living together forces everyday irritations to become major conflicts. Your different sleep schedules, food preferences, noise tolerances, and cleanliness standards will create constant friction. The roles become confused. Are you the parent or the child now? Are you a guest or a resident? These unresolvable tensions destroy even the strongest family bonds. Here's what you must do instead. Preserve your role as parent by maintaining a separate household. Visit often, but have your own space to return to. If finances are a concern, look into shared housing with other seniors or smaller, more affordable housing options. Have you considered how much your relationship with your children is worth? Is saving some money on housing costs worth losing them forever? Take action now to protect these precious relationships before it's too late. Are you willing to risk never speaking to your children or grandchildren again? That's the real cost many seniors pay. Number 4, mental and physical health decline. Did you realize that moving in with your children could literally shorten your life? The health consequences are more severe than most people understand. Medical research published by geriatric specialists in the Journal of Aging Studies shows that seniors who lose their independent living status experience accelerated physical and cognitive decline. Dr. Michael Fenster, Chief of Geriatric Medicine at Mayo Clinic, states, "When elderly adults move into their children's homes, we typically see dramatically increased rates of depression, anxiety, sleep disorders, and even accelerated progression of conditions like dementia and heart disease." Consider Walter's story. At 76, Walter was managing his mild arthritis and high blood pressure while living independently in his small apartment. When his son Gregory insisted Walter move in with his family for safety, Walter reluctantly agreed. Within weeks, Walter's carefully established daily routines were disrupted. He couldn't take his morning walk because no one was available to accompany him. His sleep was disturbed by the family's different schedules. Meal times were irregular, affecting his medication schedule. The constant noise and activity overwhelmed him. Within 6 months, Walter's blood pressure was dangerously high, despite increased medication. He developed anxiety attacks and insomnia. His arthritis pain worsened from lack of regular exercise. Eventually, Walter was hospitalized with a minor stroke that his doctor directly attributed to stress and poor health management. Are you thinking this couldn't happen to you? It happens to thousands of seniors every year. Moving into someone else's home, even a loving child's, disrupts the careful routines that keep you healthy. Your self-care regimens get interrupted. Your doctors often change when you relocate. The stress of adapting to a new environment takes a physical toll. Here's what you must do instead. Protect your health by maintaining control over your daily schedule and environment. If you need assistance, consider in-home help services that come to your own residence. Research shows seniors who maintain their own households with appropriate support services stay healthier longer than those who move in with family. Have you spoken with your doctor about the health risks of giving up your independent living situation? Do it at your next appointment. Ask specifically about how such a move might impact your existing health conditions. Is saving your child some worry worth risking your own health and potentially becoming an even greater burden if your condition worsens? Protect your health by protecting your independence. Number 5. Legal vulnerability and elder abuse risk. Have you considered that moving in with your children dramatically increases your risk of experiencing elder abuse, even if your family has always been loving and respectful? Elder law attorneys report that the majority of financial exploitation cases they handle involve seniors living with family members. According to the American Bar Association's Commission on Law and Aging, seniors who live with family members are nearly 3 times more likely to experience some form of elder abuse than those who live independently. Take Elizabeth's situation. At 77, Elizabeth moved in with her son Russell and his wife after recovering from pneumonia. Elizabeth had always been close to Russell and trusted him completely. She added him to her bank accounts in case something happens to me. She signed a power of attorney document that Russell's friend, not an elder law specialist, prepared. When Elizabeth disagreed with Russell about selling her valuable antique collection, she discovered Russell had already sold several pieces, claiming it was for her own good to simplify her life. When Elizabeth wanted to move out, she learned that Russell had remortgaged her paid-off home that she had transferred to him, making it impossible for her to reclaim it. With no financial resources left, Elizabeth became trapped in an increasingly controlling environment, afraid to speak up for fear of homelessness. Think this level of betrayal couldn't happen in your family. Unfortunately, elder law attorneys see cases like this every day. The combination of close proximity, financial pressure, caregiver stress, and unclear boundaries creates the perfect environment for exploitation and abuse, often beginning with small boundary violations that gradually escalate. Here's what you must do instead. Maintain your legal autonomy at all costs. Never add children to your bank accounts or property deeds, regardless of convenience. Work only with elder law specialists to create proper legal protections. Consider a care contract that clearly outlines any financial arrangements if your children provide care services. Have you had a consultation with an elder law attorney who specializes in protecting seniors' rights? Schedule one this week. Many offer free initial consultations. This single step could save your entire estate. Ask yourself, no matter how much you trust your children now, can you guarantee how they'll behave when facing the stress of caregiving or financial pressure? Protect yourself legally before it's too late. Now you know the 5 devastating consequences of moving in with your adult children after 70. Financial disaster, loss of independence, family relationship destruction, health decline, and legal vulnerability. I've experienced all of these firsthand, and the pain is excruciating. But you don't have to make the same mistake I did. By maintaining your independence in a separate household, protecting your finances legally, and establishing clear boundaries with loving family members, you can enjoy your golden years with dignity, security, and truly loving family relationships. Your independence isn't just about comfort, it's about protecting everything you've worked for your entire life. If you're considering moving in with your children, or they've been pressuring you to do so, share this video with them immediately so you can start an honest conversation about better alternatives. Like this video if you found this information valuable, and subscribe to our channel for more critical advice that could save your retirement and your family relationships. Comment below if you've faced pressure to move in with family and what concerns you most. I respond personally to every comment.